Welcome to my channel, Living Your Best Life, and I'm Cindy Smaha. And today I have a special message for us today. This is something that I have been struggling with, that I have struggled with my whole life, and it's rearing its ugly head. And it is, the world does not revolve around you, and it does not definitely revolve around me either. And I wanted to share some of the things that I have learned along the way and some techniques that have helped me sort of figure out where this is coming from and how to deal with this type of, it's almost a type of narcissism, self-centeredness, and we'll get into all of that. So, but before we do, please be sure to subscribe to my channel. Click that little bell right next to it so you'll be notified of all my future uploads. And if you like my video, please give me a thumbs up and leave me a comment on maybe you have struggled with this in the past too, and maybe how is it, what have you done that has helped you? Because I'm always open to hear more information about how things to improve and to help us out. So let's get into it. As I said, I learned this technique years ago when I first started the recovery programs, got into recovery from AA, and now that is 30, I want to say 37 years ago that I've been sober and clean. So I'm so grateful. Thank you, God. And since then, I've gotten into other types of recovery programs and Christ-centered recovery programs. And of course, if you're in one, then you know that steps 4 through 12 or however long, that's the part where we really deal with our thinking and our acting, our behavior, our character defects, which includes this one. And so what I did is I condensed down some of the steps and in an easier format. And you know, I love acrostics, so this is going to be in acrostic form. I do that for me because it makes it so much easier to remember. Then I can just put the word down and put a couple things down, and that jogs my memory on, okay, that's the step, that's the next thing to do, focus on. So I hope this is helpful for you. So let's get into the first letter of the acrostic, which is S, and it's for seek humility and understanding. And what I mean by that is that the first step in any kind of process to change is admitting where you're at with it. So when you seek humility, what I'm saying is you're seeking information about yourself, that is this correct? Is this what I'm thinking? And I need to change it. How does it make me feel? How does it make others feel? And then understanding of yourself, you know, maybe where does this come from? Why is it, like for me, it's rearing its ugly head now. Why is it doing it now? And humility is not about humiliation. It's not meant to be shameful. It's not meant you to feel guilty or horrible. Humility is thinking of yourself in sober judgment with a clear perspective and understanding of your talents, your weaknesses, your strengths. Because one, I know my weakness is cooking. I am not a good cook. I don't like to cook. I don't like to garden. No way. But I'm really good with technology, really good with software. I'm really, really good event planner. So I know those things are strengths in me. And I believe that I'm a kind, nice person for the most part. I do have to watch it. I have to put a muffler on my mouth most often, so, which is sort of like gone away here lately. So again, you know, these are the things to think about with our first step. Seek humility and understanding. Admit that you may have an issue, maybe with something else, but definitely an issue, maybe with pride or self-centeredness. Now, I heard a definition about humility, pride, and false pride, and what that means. And pride means thinking of yourself better than someone else. And humility is thinking exactly, like I said, with sober judgment. And false humility is thinking of yourself less than, having that self talk that says you're bad and you're horrible and you're stupid and I've done it all, and it's just, that whole self-talk. So this is not about false humility. It's not about shame or humiliation. It's just thinking right-sized about yourself. And, some questions that you may ask about, yourself during the first step is, am I willing to do this? Am I willing to do the work that takes to change, to be different, to make my life better and someone else's life better, our close friends, maybe a partner or spouse, someone that you love, and maybe you're taking it out on them like I have done with my husband, and I feel bad. Oh gosh, that makes me feel so bad when I've been sort of cross or grumpy or grouchy and quick with a response, and so I always want to be kind, but accept, maybe that your ways of thinking and acting may not be the best way of thinking and acting. So that's the first step and the first letter of our acrostic, which is S. The second letter of our acrostic is E, which is examine your thoughts and words and feelings. Okay, so again, if you've been in the 12-step program, you know what step I'm on. I'm talking about the inventory. And so this is where you inventory, how have you been thinking and where does this thinking occur at? My thinking, of course, is around the house when I've been critical with my husband. My thinking is always the grocery store and the parking lots and, any kind of store that I go in where I interact with other people, even church, where this rears its ugly head. It's like I have no boundaries. It happens like everywhere. And so I've got to watch that. So some of the questions that I have down that might be helpful for you to help you examine and get you to start writing a list, and I really encourage you to write a list. What are your exact thoughts? What have you exactly been saying or close to? How have you been acting? Write those things down and where they occurred to help give you better perspective. So some of the questions are, again, how have I acted prideful, arrogant, or self-centered? Am I mad if someone takes the parking spot that I had my eye on? Don't they know that I don't feel good and that I need a close parking spot? Do I get irritated when, this is a big one, do I get irritated when someone is sitting in my spot at church? If they sit in our row in where we usually sit and someone else is sitting there. We sit there every single week and then somebody's sitting in our spot. Does that, yes, and I'm admitting it right now, yes, that goes through my mind, which I hate why that does. Do I assume that others want to hear all about what's going on and happening to me? Do I just assume that, wherever I'm going, oh yeah, I have stage 4 biliary cancer that's unoperable and da 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 da. So I go on and on and on about my own issues because I need to vent. Because I don't have to vent to everybody, but do I do that? Have I done that? Or am I bragging or boasting about my success or accomplishments? At every chance I get, I let people know what I have done and what I've accomplished and where I'm going and all the opportunities that I've created, or this deal or that deal, Do I think I know what is best all the time and believe my way is the only way and it's my way or the highway? I do that a lot with event planning, with doing SOPs, standards of operation, that I think this is the best process to go for, okay? And somebody else gives me a couple ideas and I'm like, I don't think so. My way's probably better than that. I don't think so. I've used my way. I've been in this field for over 30 years. I should know. I'm almost 59 years old. I'm old enough to be your grandmother. Of course I know. You know, do those thoughts go through your mind? I'm just telling you what goes through my mind, and maybe that's the same stuff that goes through your mind. Am I critical of others? You know, I do know that I have a critical thought that I am looking at, because I do a lot of proofreading and I'm pretty good with proofreading. Maybe grammar, not so much. Not too bad with grammar, but proofreading, making sure the spelling is correct and that sentence structure. And that's sort of what I do for a living. I review and proofread resumes. And so I have been trained in it. So I do, do the best of my ability. But am I critical of others? Like, oh gosh, that look does not look flattering on her. That color of hair does not look flattering. Maybe my hair doesn't look quite so flattering. It sort of did not want to do what I wanted it to do today. So it is what it is. But so yes, am I critical of other people, how they look, how they speak, how they talk, what they at work? If it's not my area, if I'm not their supervisor, if I'm not their teacher, am I being overly critical on someone? And do I give unsolicited advice or opinions? And the clear word is unsolicited. And I have, like, thinking, well, they would want to know because I'd want to know. Well, maybe not everybody wants to know. It's like, oh, do I dominate the conversation? In other words, do I let other people get a word in edgewise? Or while they're thinking or they're talking, am I thinking about all the things that I want to say that I'm not even paying attention to them? Am I being a good listener, an active listener? Am I giving good eye contact, good sounds like, oh, wow, sorry that's happening to you. That's just terrible. Oh, I'm sorry. Is there anything I can do to help you? Am I responding correctly and doing active listening? So, again, and do I judge people on their appearance? There's some questions around when you examine your thoughts and your words and your feelings. Where have I acted without empathy or consideration for others? So, a good question in this one, am I so self-absorbed that in my own troubles, my own accomplishments, my own bragging, that I give little thought and response to other people's feelings or what they're going through? We all have problems and issues in our lives, and I know I do, and maybe you do too. We put them in categories and degrees of, like, this is the worst case scenario, then we got this case, and then this one, and this isn't so bad. It's like a 4-year-old dropping their ice cream. That's devastating, and that does break my heart, because I remember doing that, and it's like, I can't get any more ice cream, it's just so horrible, and it's like, oh, I remember being sick on Halloween one year, and I was just so sick. I had like a high temperature, and my mom said, you can't go out trick-or-treating. I still remember that. I think I was like maybe 7, 8 years old. I cried the whole time, but my brothers and sisters were so sweet. They shared their candy with me. That just warmed my heart. That was just so kind with them. I think my mother told them to, but anyway, they shared it with me, so that was nice. But do I give little thought about what someone else is going through because I think I'm going through something worse? If someone gets a speeding ticket and they're really upset about that, and oh my gosh, I don't have the money to pay for it. That was so humiliating or so shameful, because everybody has a different degree of shame, or things that happen that might cause us more shame or more hurt or more regret or things like that, but we all of our problems or issues are important to us, right? But have I acted in a way that doesn't even acknowledge the severity of their problem? Have I not given them a hug? Do I not, just speak with them and just sit there and just listen and hold their hand? Or have I just waited for them to just shut up so that I could talk about what's really the problem and who's really going through a problem? Have I acted in that way? And have I not considered how my situation is affecting others? And I say this, for my poor husband. He doesn't share a ton of his feelings because I know he is trying to be strong in this. But I don't acknowledge the pain he's going through, the fear that he has, the worry that he has. And so I don't even acknowledge it. Even if he doesn't say something, I can at least acknowledge it to him and be thoughtful and prayerful for him. And so have I been inconsiderate on how I have acted and how other people have had to live with my reactions? Oh, this is a good one. This is a really good one, and I alluded to it earlier. Am I entitled because, because that's reared my ugly head too, is, well, I'm entitled to a scooter at the grocery store because I get really weak in the legs and I get really tired. That walking around the whole store trying to get groceries, I'm exhausted. It's like, how do I get out to the car again? And how dare they not have all those scooters batteried up, powered up? There's like one that's got enough power to get me around half the store. And it's like, how wrong of them not to think of me and think of like other people. Well, they should have it. That's my thinking. They should have that, but they didn't. For whatever reason, they didn't have it. But that's the kind of thing that goes through my mind. One, I need a closed parking stall, and two, why can't I have a scooter? When other people look at me and they go, you look great. I mean, my husband just said that the other day. He goes, honey, you are so beautiful and you look too beautiful to have cancer. And I'm like, thank you, but don't judge a book by its cover. But do I do that? Do I judge a book by a cover where I'm pushing around my cart and I see somebody else riding a cart and I'm going, oh, I know I feel worse than they do. They should let me have that cart. Where does that come from? That's a self-centered bias, thinking that what I'm going through is tons of times worse than someone else, that I'm entitled to it, which I'm not. Which I'm not entitled to that. Just because I may be going through something that might be difficult, I'm not entitled to that. Everyone doesn't, the world does not revolve around me. And then the last portion of our examine our thoughts and feelings is ask others how you have acted prideful. Tell someone else. Share your list, because that's a part of the inventory, is sharing your list with someone you trust. And make sure it's someone you trust, that isn't going to be gossiping about you, that can talk to you honestly, yet kindly, because you always want to be kind. Even when you give someone feedback, you always want to be kind. And I have really worked hard at trying to be kind and not saying, or being grumpy, even though it's been sort of coming out here a little bit. But ask for help. You can look for maybe a therapist, a mentor, a good close friend that would be able to listen to you, to accept what you're saying, and then be able to give you feedback on that. It's like, yeah, I could see where that would be definitely, and how do you feel about that? And what have you done to help correct that? So they can ask you questions about it, but at least getting it out, sharing it with someone else. That's the biggest thing, is sharing it with someone else, because it gets out of our head, right? It gets out of here, and when you put it on paper, it makes it real, but then it also makes it a way that you can change. If you can see it, you can change it. Because one, you're putting the effort into doing that. And so when you write that down, that will be helpful. The third letter in our acrostic is L, and it is for learn a new way of thinking and acting. Be teachable. Be open to the idea that you need to change, that something needs to change. Either someone, maybe your significant other, has said this. You know, it's all about you. I've had people say this about me. Oh yeah, that's right, it's all about you. You know best. Like, oh, that hurt. Have I been acting like that? Oh, heed the warning. Heed the warning. You know, but be teachable. Be understanding. It's like, okay, how can I change? What are the ways that I can do to change? Now, in the recovery programs, we have a saying, or we always had the saying, is that you can't think your way into new action, right? Because my best thinking got me in a lot of bad trouble. But I can act my way into new thinking. And what you believe about yourself and what you believe in will also determine your behavior. You know, so if you believe in being kind and being compassionate and being loving towards others, then that will help you in acting and behaving in that way. So some of the things that have been helpful for me that has been acting my way into new thinking is that instead of trying to find the closest parking lot space, then maybe let someone else have the primo parking space. Maybe park a few cars over. And I think of this too with myself. It's not going to kill me, okay? I'm not going to be dying. I won't be passing out. You know what? Maybe I just won't go through the whole store. Maybe just the half store. Just get what I need and go. You know what? So act my way into new thinking. Let someone else have a spot. Maybe at church that we don't sit in the spot all the time. Maybe we move around. You know, maybe we sit in the back instead of all the way in the front or close to the front. You know, maybe there's other spots that we can sit in that won't keep us in this entitlement kind of mode in our mind. This is a good one. When you meet with family and friends, because, you know, sometimes you don't get quite, you're quick enough, someone else might be saying, well, how are you doing? You know, and they may probably know the situation stuff. You go, you know what? Today is a good day. I'm hanging in here. How are you doing? How's everything going with you? Because I know you had this situation and you talked to your son and you had this with your mother-in-law and, you know, this and this. How are you doing with that? You know, and what's going on? What's new with you? What have you been doing? Seek others-centered. Talk to them first without thinking, oh, I can't wait for them to shut up so I can talk about this. Put your stuff on the side and let them talk. Let them be the center of their attention. The last act your way into new thinking is to be thoughtful. You know, if you know of a friend who's going through something, or maybe they've accomplished something and you want to congratulate them, or just because, call them up. Hey, how you doing? I was just thinking about you. Text them. I love texting. Hey, how you doing? Send a few emojis. I send a couple of my Bitmojis on my face and stuff like that, you know, and just say, you know, congratulations, good morning, hope you have a great morning, you know, something that will be helpful. Even on Facebook, on social media, post things that maybe are uplifting instead of the complaining all the time or the updating, you know, because I'll do that too. Update people on what's currently going on. You know what, if they wanted to know, they'd call me, you know, or if they needed to know. I'm not the center of their universe. I'm definitely not. But reach out to someone else without the thought of it's going to be reciprocated. You know, when you say, how are you doing? Don't expect them to say, hey, how am I doing? You know, how are you doing? So it's like, you know what, I'm doing okay. I'm hanging in here. Life is good, you know, and life is good. And the more you say that, life is good, and be thankful, because that's the biggest thing that I have found with trying to act my way into new thinking, is to be thankful and to say the things that I'm thankful for and grateful for. And one of those is you. I'm so thankful for you, for your kind words, for being able to have this channel where I can talk about the things that are important to me, that have been helpful for me, and maybe you can relate to them, maybe you can't, maybe you have a different way, which some of you have said, and that's wonderful. You can share what's worked for you that's different than me. And so I'm just so thankful that you watch my videos and you leave me beautiful comments, and a few of you know my email and have responded in email and have been so kind and thoughtful. So that's just a blessing. This channel is just a blessing for me to be able to reach out to others and to extend that helping hand to others. Now the last letter in the acrostic is F, for focus on helping and serving others. I alluded to the acting part, but the last part is really focusing on helping others. And again, this is very much derived from the recovery programs. What I have learned is like, okay, when you admit this, things are going on, now serve someone else. Now sponsor. Now talk to someone else about how they're doing. Now help someone else, even if it's maybe vacuum their living room, which I hate vacuuming. I do, and I'm not good at it, but I'll do it. I will vacuum and wash dishes. So maybe offer to help someone in that way. But focus your thoughts and energies on helping and serving others. Serve in other volunteer programs. You know, the pantry, the food pantry is always a great place to volunteer. At where I work, at community college, you can definitely find areas of volunteering and serving at a community college or other colleges. At your church, where you go to church, serve there, and tons of community agencies where you can serve and give your time back. Soup kitchens are wonderful to be able to do that. And be a support to someone else. You know, let someone else know that you care and that you're there to support them, and ask them, how can I support you? What is it I can do that will make your life easier? Can I pick up something? Maybe can I bring you a meal? Because I don't say I'm going to fix you a meal. I'm going to bring you a meal. Where do you want me to bring it? I'll give you a gift card to Panera's or somewhere that you can order and get it delivery. DoorDash, you know. So, you know, help someone else out and focus your energies on those. F is also, for me, it's faith. Because my faith is a huge part of who I am and how I change, because without God's help, I'm clueless. I so am, and have been clueless for so many years, is that sometimes I cannot see my character defects until it's too late, or someone, you know, I've been divorced, okay? So I learned from a lot of those, but I still sometimes am very clueless, and I need God's help and His guidance and direction for me. And one of my favorite verses, which is actually on my cross back here for love, and it's 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 8. And I know you've probably all heard it because it's very, very common on plaques and stuff. It's, love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It's not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. Love never fails. Loving others, loving and being kind to ourselves, you know, taking care of ourselves. Like me, it's like trying to get more sleep because my sleep is so interrupted. You know, getting the sleep and the rest and the food, and maybe even the exercise that will help you, but supporting others and loving and being kind. So I need to get this plaque other places, maybe like post-it notes on my mirrors. Maybe I'll do that. But another way that I focus is focus on what God wants to do in my life. Not what I want to do, what I think I should do that's going to make me some money or do this. What does God want to do in my life? You know, in this time of my life, I really feel like there is a job he wants me to do. And I feel like giving this types of messages, and the messages I've had, is what he wants me to do. And I cannot know his will for my life unless I'm taking the time to ask him, and then taking the time to listen. You know, where, you know, you have that thought that pops in your head. I know I do all the time, that goes, oh, well, how about you call up so-and-so? Oh, okay. I'll call up, you know, be open to that. Okay, I'll call up so-and-so. Hey, go be kind to someone else. Go give them a gift card. Hey, do this message on your YouTube channel. Do something like this. Talk about this and this. So I know that there is something that more that he wants me to do with this this time of my life. And I can only do that with meditation, prayer, studying God's word, and then asking trusted friends. You know, this is what I was thinking. What do you think? Do you think that would be a good thing for me to do? Would that be helpful? Do you think that's what's God's wants me to do? So those are the ways that help me to understand and learn what God's will is. Another way is, again, focusing, being other-centered, and that's by being generous. And I've talked about it before. What am I doing to help someone else? Because I should always be doing something to help someone else. Either it's a text, an email, a call, a card in the mail. I know, card in the mail, that's strange. A gift card, taking someone out to lunch, just being kind and generous to someone. And I love, that's part of my love language, is sending gifts. As you know, I love doing the unboxings every month and doing giveaways. I love, 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 love sharing gifts. I love giving gifts to people. So that just makes me so happy. And then, of course, the last one is be other-centered, just as we talked about. Call, text, send a card, and email. So our acrostic, as you can see, is self. So one, how can I be less self-centered and more other-centered? Less self-conscious and be more sensitive to others. And so that's why I like short, sweet acrostics, because they're helpful to me. So these are the things that I'm working on, and maybe this is helpful for you. Maybe you have some other ideas that have been helpful for you. That would be great. And I'm going to leave some links in the description box of other recovery programs, and I have a few books in mind that I'm going to put on there and list as well that have been helpful for me. And so, as always, I so love you. I certainly do. I do care about you. I pray for you. I hope that you are living your best life, and that I am so grateful and thankful for you. So, again, I love you. I care about you. I'm sending you loads of hugs and kisses, and I will see you next week, Monday at 4. Have a great week. Bye-bye.